What up, my dudes, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a gluten-free lo mein recipe, which you can make regular, not gluten-free, by just using fresh lo mein noodles. Without further ado, let's get started. Before we get started today, shout out to my dad for buying me this really awesome knife. Really love it. Thanks, Dad. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start by prepping all of our ingredients, because that's the secret to a good stir fry, is to get everything prepped first. So we're going to start with 1 whole small onion, 3 cloves of garlic, and as always, the exact amounts will be down in the description below. And we're just going to go ahead and give these a nice crush. And then we're going to go ahead and cut ourselves up some shitake mushrooms. Mine were pre-chopped, so that was kind of nice. Then we're going to grab ourselves a cabbage. We want about 2 cups to 1.5 cups of cabbage. I like to cut mine kind of thin and then add some that are kind of squares, give some different textures in mine, but it's up to you, honestly, how you do your cabbage. Then we're just going to go ahead and put that on the side. Then we're going to grab ourselves a carrot. And I have this awesome julienne peeler, which does these little strips for you. They're about like 15 bucks on Amazon, maybe 10. If not, you can always chop one with a knife. And we're just going to get ourselves some nice fine strips from 1 carrot. Then we're going to grab 2 green onions, chop up all the whites, and throw that into our stir-frying vegetables. There's no reason to waste that. And then we're going to take our green tops, and we're going to set those aside for later because those are going to go in last in the dish. Then we're going to chop ourselves up 1 bell pepper. I have a yellow one today, but you can use green or red. Now for our stir-fry sauce, we're going to use about a tablespoon of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, some sesame oil, some oyster sauce, about a tablespoon. Then we're going to add some sugar. Then we're going to go ahead and add ourselves the magical MSG. Stuff will make anything delicious. Then go ahead and add some white pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon, and we're just going to whisk that all together and set that aside for later. Now go ahead and grab yourself about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of beef, and you can use the store-bought thinly sliced stuff. That's fine. It's a little shortcut. Save yourself some time, because we're going to immediately go ahead and add ourselves some cornstarch, about 1 teaspoon there, 1 teaspoon of oil, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, and then the secret ingredient to make this nice and velvety like a restaurant, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. You really don't want to go any heavier than that. And then we're going to mix this together, and we're going to let it chill for about 30 minutes. And that's going to really tenderize our beef. And go ahead and add some oil to the pan, get it hot. And we're just going to coat our pan in the oil. Then we're going to go ahead and drain the excess. And once we've got it drained, we're going to go ahead and add our beef. This pan should be ripping hot, should be a little bit smoky. And we're just going to go ahead and stir fry that beef up until it's about 3/4 of the way done. At which point we're just going to move it off to the side. And we're going to add some dry sherry, if you're gluten intolerant like me, or you just can't find Shaoxing cooking wine. That's the real ingredient you should be using, but it's okay, we got to shortcut it. Then we're going to add all our stir-frying vegetables to this after we scrape the bottom of that pan to get that nice fond. And then we're going to add our cabbage and our mushrooms and really just mix those together, give them a good stir-fry, like so. Maybe do a couple flips to really show everybody who's boss. Now the shortcut to make this gluten-free is gluten-free spaghetti noodles. Use a thick cut for this. That's because it's almost impossible to find fresh gluten-free lo mein noodles. If you're not gluten-free, just use regular lo mein noodles. Your vegetables should look a little bit wilty and still slightly crunchy when you're done. And honestly, you should have that pasta finished before we got to this step, but that's okay, I forgot. We're just going to let it cool off to the side and then bring it back up to temperature when we're ready to add our beef back in and those noodles are done cooking. Stink yourself a taste of that beef. Go ahead and just lightly fry that together for about 30 seconds, get it all nice and stirred. Then we're going to add our green onion at the very end, maybe about a minute away from when we feel like we're done. Then we're going to toss it all together again, add our noodles to our wok or frying pan. Then we're going to go ahead and top that with our sauce. And I'm being very deliberate in my layering because you don't want those noodles to get to the bottom and burn. And then it's okay not to flip this step. You can just mix them up with some tongs if you must. And it should take on a nice dark brown color from that sauce. Then we're going to go ahead and plate it up. My wife prefers hers with some sriracha on top, so I went ahead and did that for her. For me though, I'm just going to do the classic sesame seeds on top. And really that's it. You have a beautiful plate of gluten-free lo mein. So let's get a taste test. Alright guys, let's try some gluten-free lo mein noodles. Let's go. Big old bite and some of that meat. Ooh, that's hot. That hit the spot. I know we had a shortcut with gluten-free spaghetti, but if you use the sauce and these ingredients, and you make it a regular lo mein, it'll be perfect. Gluten-free, just hit the spot. So if you've been missing lo mein noodles, this is what I got you. Now I'm going to go add some extra soy sauce because I like mine with extra soy sauce. I always have since I was a kid. It's weird. But anyway, stay tuned. And there you have it, folks. A delicious lo mein noodle recipe. If you're like me, you've been missing it ever since you found out you're gluten-free. Sucks, but what can you do? Anyway, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, really helps out the channel. Tell me what you want me to cook next. And as always, toodles.